So
that's the fork in the road. So that's when it's like, all right, it's time to make my stake in another business.
yeah, and the crazy thing about it is like, even the nonstop story, like that job was originally gonna be Kid Scratch's job with X. Because I was like always consulting the whole thing, and if people know, like, Damian Cash is really Kid Scratch. I just put the brand on top of it and ran with it, right? I started to make my own mixtapes in the beginning, and I would dibble and dabble and make certain projects that were like dear to me, right? Don't get it confused. Like, I know my way around Pro Tools, DR4, computer, like mixtape DJ. I could do it all. I could make the same mixtapes, same quality, same vision, but like really what I was like an A&R, right? Like I would come up with these concepts and tell them, yo, I need this, and this music. This is what they're asking for. Let's put a little bit of this in there. Let's put a little bit of that in there. And just, I was the creative director. Um, but he was the ghost behind Damian Cash. So when the job came up, they first was gonna offer it to him, and I was like, "Yo, this nigga can't be around small." He was, that's my really good friend of mine. Hope he's doing well. If he's listening to this or watches this, his health was always a problem. He's struggled with MS, and so I was like, "Yo, he's not gonna be able to withstand touring and being around smoke, and these niggas are wild." And then Nan became, like prevalent in the conversation and was working with us at the time on other shit and shows and stuff. And then it was like, oh yeah, he's a better fit.
I tell you
He's
what,
he's
the universe worked in a special way because that
exactly,
became a
exactly.
special friendship, a special duo, a special brotherhood.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
I mean,
because of that it brought me in. Like it was perfect. Like
Nan is my brother,
I
bro.
don't see, I don't,
We go way back.
dog is a special kind of person, and not just anybody was gonna be able to go all the years with him that nonstop
Oh
did. So
yeah,
I think it
for
worked out
sure, for
perfectly.
sure.
Yeah.
And not Nan is rough around the edges. He's been around the streets. You know what I'm saying? So he can handle that. And that really was like the pre-conversations between Kato and I, like, yo, because they tapped him really to babysit him here and help him turn in an album that he wasn't turning in and wasn't getting done. That was really, really the like, yo, you got to get him to get this album done. And their friendship turned into like, bro, you got to get this work done too. We could fuck around, we could play with remote control cars, gamble, do whatever, but we got to get this work done, bro. The world needs you. They're waiting for you. You've got commitments.
So you got to
And
see that friendship, the friendship between K and DMX. You got to see that friendship from the beginning, huh? From
oh yeah,
turn
yeah. I
into what it
mean,
was.
yeah, I mean, it was special. You could tell right away that they were like two peas in a pod. They were identical, you know? Um, he X also saw, like, I was a very trustworthy person and a confidant, a very close person that could get around any type of conversations or could be around any kind of conversations between them, you know. Um, I've told the story about X waking us up in the middle of the night while we're babysitting him at the W before he goes to the studio the next day,
Right.
and he wakes us up in the middle of the night to go jack a car, like, I'm in these settings with him. You know, he wants to go buy a remote control car, like it's, in a north suburb. It closes in 15 minutes. We got police detail in the front and the back, and we hot tail it to go buy a remote control car. Like we're in like hot pursuit. You know what I'm saying? Like police pursuit all the way, like 40 minutes away, get there in 15, 20 minutes just to go make it to buy this remote control car that he really wanted. So like I was around them for like, and the other thing too, man, like my relationship was with Kato was not the same relationship that any of his peers in his organization have with him or anything around the street. Like I got to see a different side of a man. Like people can't really tell me about him, the way I could tell somebody about him. Like I saw the man, a husband, a father. I saw a lot of great things about him, You know, I didn't see a lot of any of whatever else other people have, opinions of, and I don't really like to hear any like negative opinions about him. You know what I'm saying? And there may be shit out there, but if I didn't see it, I can't really like my skin don't feel right around it, you know. So like I got his face is tattooed on my left shoulder, man. And I got a lot of love for him, like extreme love. And with that love, there extends a certain respect to his mom, his children, whatever. Like I would never disrespect him ever, you know. There may have been some shit that got like disconstrued or whatever, some art that I was trying to put on a hoodie, but I like, I felt that was wrong, and if that hurt anybody's feelings, that I didn't profit anything much. I gave away most of those hoodies to friends of his and people that really would love to wear him. I didn't make but maybe 15, 20 of those, but like I love him like a brother. I met the twins first, but my relationship was a lot more extensive with Kate.
So,
And
so
it's,
yeah, we were talking about how you was standing around on the block and you was pushing CDs and you got to see these characters that were the function of the neighborhood, the dudes from the neighborhood, and you
yeah,
see them out of the corner of your eye, and you know each, you get aware of them. Now, at what
yeah.
point do
You
you?
know who they are, you know what level, of
So
respect.
at what point y'all get y'all plug up?
I think we played ball at hoops a few times before he realized or knew that um, I was somebody in the music, right? Because like uh, Big John, who's now deceased, was trying to manage me at the time as a tour DJ and put me on the road because that's what he thought I was. I'm like, nah, that ain't gonna be me. I'll never make enough money on a tour bus with a per diem and all of that bullshit. Like I make way too much money off of mixtapes,
Right,
bro,
right.
to go on the road for $250 a show. You know what I'm saying? And a $50 per diem. Like that ain't gonna cut it for me. So we were trying to figure out a way for him to manage me on a business level. So when I would go play at hoops with Twin and them and all K and all those guys, like he would see me go over there and play a game with R. Kelly, or I knew all the promoters over there, Honeycut, Omar, Blackie, Silent Partner. He got his own clothing line now, so that's still my homie. That's one of the first people that connected us with Fat Joe through my friendship with Blackie and knowing John, Big John, Fat John, and knowing them and like just introducing everything. Once we decided to start a record label, like, yo, this guy they just did records with Fat Joe. He could connect us. Boom, let's go. So, you know, it didn't take but about maybe a, a month or two of him seeing me at hoops and then seeing me around in the neighborhood. And then when like P was like, yo, this is cash, like he's in the music, he does mixtapes, he makes money off of mixtapes. And then it's like, oh yeah, I want to do music, bro. And that's really initially like, the first conversations, I mean, his first artist is Prophet. Well, his first artist, he had an artist named Diablo, which I didn't know DeMarcus Anderson. His name is Diablo back then. Um, Coined by Kato, I believe that's who gave him the name. But that was his main like artist, and I had Prophet because I used to shop heavy and put CDs in like all of like the Tony Sports, the Crew Sports, the J, the Tops and Bottoms,
Right.
all the clothing stores had my mixtapes, bro. Like that was like when the stores were dying down, my mixtapes moved into the clothing stores, and the malls. So um when Cato saw that, and he just did a ride along with me, saw that I was literally making money off of mixtapes. It was at towards the end of my mixtape run that I barely started to put freestyles and raps of artists on my mixtapes at the end. And then I was like, this is what it's been all about. I did, but then it was too late. I couldn't be drama then. I was already like a different thing, I wasn't hosting mixtapes. I wasn't providing a service to artists. I was taking the hottest most current unreleased music. I was the unreleased king. You wanted a song that wasn't out yet, that wasn't downloadable yet, that you couldn't get in your iPod, you went and bought a Damian Cash mixtape. I was the one that beat everyone to it first. So, you know, that comes with a certain amount of power. Everybody knew, like, yo, this motherfucker beats us to the punch every time. But that's because I had a partner making mixtapes. All I focused on was cover, artwork, pressing, and distribution. So we made the perfect marriage. I even had a mixtape called Put Us Together, and then it would depict like Scarface and Manolo, which would be Kid Scratch and Cash. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, we make the perfect team, we make the perfect balance. But those tapes were few and far and in between, and Kid Scratch didn't really want to put his name out there like that. But when he did want to do a big tape, a big release, like, I would help, or sometimes I would put it out early on, and then he put a few of his own out afterwards. But like, big shout out to Kid Scratch. Is if there was no Kid Scratch, there really would not be no Damian Cash, and he really was the heat. The unreleased, that was him. I just kind of gave him a little bit of like, yo, I need this, I need that, I need this. This is what they're asking for. So I had like real time information for him
Yeah, you
to
was
go look
facilitating.
and find.
Yeah. You got a relationship with the twins, you got a relationship with Kato. It goes down, you get deeper into the game. How does that look?
Um,
Is this at the
I
same
mean,
time that you and K are trying to do the label thing? Is at the same time that you're getting deeper, or did it come
no,
subsequent?
I get deep. I get deep as we're formulating the label. I the introduction was really kind of formulated for me to kind of like shadow him and be him, and let him pretend to be the music guy, and be the front, well, not pretend, but let him be the music guy and cool him off. And this way nobody knows what's going on in the background. So it's like a trading places, Dan Aykroyd and Eddie Murphy. And I go into his world, he goes into my world. We still see each other every day. We compare notes. The end of the day is still music. We're at the studio recording, but my day is much different than his day. His day is get things together, talk to people in New York, further his connections and through the streets and all the people that he knows, and get all, deeper and deeper and deeper into the music. And my day is like, do hit what his day used to be, just to kind of keep things off the radar, and like, well, because
Without busting out the window of the car at your ops and all of that shit, right?
right, yeah, exactly, because he was spicy everywhere. So his business was easy to become spotted, because it's like, oh, that's him right there, that's him, so it's like, you know even though you're not looking for trouble, you're in trouble because of who you are, and your lifestyle, and your past. So like, it was a smart move. I mean, looking back, I was a bit of a sacrificial lamb for it. But once we figured out what the order of things were going to be, I think had he still been here this day, we would probably be like the modern day version of what, like, Shady, Aftermath. Like, I started connected like before he even passed away. Like, I had my own entity, because I realized that the only way that we were going to be able to survive is you do dinero, I'll get you do that, and then I'm going to do this label, and I'll consult you on that. And that was the deal. Help me turn up, help me market and promote this, and raise the needle. And when they give me this check, I'm going to sign your label under my label, and you're going to run this shit, both. So, it's bittersweet to talk about it, because, I was on those phone conversations with Steven Spielberg and partners and lawyers and everyone from DreamWorks, early on in DreamWorks, you know, um, and I just, sometimes you can't really let go or imagine what could have been. I sit there and I listen to the unreleased music, and it's sad. It's sad. It's sad. It still hurts. It still like burns me, inside. And I can't even imagine it, any what what his family still feels. He's a big void and a big loss in my life, you know, like, um, and I can't imagine what anyone else is feeling. I could just tell you what I feel, you know, and that's, he's a big void, man. He was bigger than life.
Now was
He's
he playing that position, that change of positions? Was he still playing that up to the end of him, or
Yeah, man. I mean,
like that was still
I was
what
supposed to
y'all were
meet
doing?
him that day that all happened. I was on my way to meet him to get some money from him to book flights to go seal the deal, bro. Like that's a lot of shit that a lot of people don't even know that. Like I was ripping and running all day and I was like, "Oh, I'll catch you here. I'll catch you there. Oh, this ain't gonna work. Oh, this ain't gonna work." And then I get a call and it's like, "Yo, they say that he's dead." And I'm like, "What? Where?" And immediately I dropped everything I was doing, got there. I got questioned. They pulled me in. They put me in a lineup. They took pictures of me and everything and asked me, "Well, how did you know or find out about the murder? Well, how'd you get here?" Like I had to go to the precinct, you know? Um, obviously like I had a trunk full of posters and CDs and like it was really how I knew him. Like, yo, we run a record company with him, Um no, there was nobody that did it like us, bro. We were on top of Benihana's. Our offices were on top of Benihana's. 3 Kanye West tracks, a Fabulous feature, a DMX feature, um, a Selena Johnson feature, a Fat Joe feature. You name any top producer at the time, No ID, everyone that was anybody was on this artist's Prophet project.
Yeah, no,
The
we were hearing
video,
about it on this side.
yeah,
We knew what was
the
happening.
videos were going to be shot by director Little X, and there was talks about a Hype Williams video. Like, when you talking those names and you throwing those names out there, bro, like, man, ain't nobody in the history of Chicago music that didn't make it, that did that level, like, and not made it. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is all like pre even making it. Like, the conversations were just so legendary, so big, so large. Like, um, and then
Did Fat
I,
Joe
I
pull out Pun's rhyme book?
yes, he did. It was like a glittery purple bag, and right when he got stuck at a few bars, and he's like, uh, you can hear it. I mean, I might as well
Is
pull it up and
is
play it
that
for
joint
you.
out there?
Nah, it's in my phone though, and I'm gonna play it right now. A little clip,
So
and you're
for
gonna
those
hear
that don't
it.
know what I'm talking about is I did a short maybe a year and a half ago off of a clip that I saw of Damien speaking to, I believe it was Al Prophet. People are always, there's always something about Fat Joe, and it's like I try to stay out of it. But then Damien said what he said. He said, "Man, Fat Joe pulled out Pun's rhyme book." And I remember people used to talk about that in the hood, but again, I hear a lot of bullshit in the hood. I hear a lot of rumors. I hear a lot of innuendo, shit that wasn't real, and I try to find, what was real and what wasn't, So I hear this. He says Joe pulls out Pun's rhyme book and used rhymes from his rhyme book on a record. And to me,
Yeah.
I was like, that's probably the lowest shit you could do besides taking the ring off a dead man's finger. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how I feel about it because in the moment, you know, bro, you're like, wow,
Oh, when it's
this guy's
happening?
about to spit something legendary, you know?
Right.
Like, don't get me wrong, he wrote most of his shit,
Right.
like I'm not here to discredit Joe either. Like
Right.
I was the one sitting on the couch with Joe while he's got the Hennessy bottle telling me his son's name is my government name. And like, I like y'all Chicago niggas. Like, man, he gave me great advice about like the angle to take about music. Like, he's a mogul in his own right, bro. Don't get me wrong on why I bring stuff up, but like, that just
If
happening
it
in front
happened, it
of me is
happened.
like, you can't make that shit up. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he brought it out, you know, uh, this, uh,
Yeah. BX Shot Town. Yeah. Get down. We hope that we crack the dawn. Yeah. Gracias. Trevor. Down, down, big baby. Niggas like the Taliban, raising hell.
Been ready to AK since the age of 12. This is Prophet, our artist at the time.
Yeah, we can't really hear it.
We'll do something a little more formal,
Yeah, we'll
but
figure it out. Yeah,
you
no,
know,
I just said, I just thought that, I mean, it's one thing in homage.
Yeah.
That's my brother. I'm a lace a line on every joint, whatever.
Yeah.
But
and it was a couple of lines. It wasn't like, yo, he gave us a full pun. You know, he's like,
he's
yo,
out of
let me give, yeah, let me give you a little pun. You know what I'm saying? And when he hit it, it was like, yo, you could hear pun. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Blast your side, blast your cash, and your stash will be mine. Shoot your ass from the passenger side. It was straight pun rhyme.
Right.
Like, this is 15, 20 years old, and it's embedded in my brain.
Right.
You know, like I know it like the back of my,
Right.
I know
word to the
Prophet's
wise
lines
out
the
there.
same way.
I know I ain't do much, but stay away from my fucking rhyme book when I die. All right, everybody that I love, everybody that loves me.
You're funny. Yeah. But yeah, man, I mean, all of that stuff is legendary stories, man. Like, we took some people with us to New York for their very first time when we went on that trip, and then it was more trips and more trips. And then, I got deeper and deeper as the music progressed. I had to stay behind more, because I had to handle shit here, So it was like he ran and did his thing, and we had our discussions, our disputes about it, and we ended up coming together like men and just figuring it out. And unfortunately, I got back together with him to help him like finish out what we started, and things didn't end the way we wanted them to, and that shit, it stings still, bro, especially when I hear the music or play the music, and it hurts. But yeah, man, I got nothing but love for him. He will always be my brother, and I pray that when they do his story, man, it's just gonna be so big. I know it's gonna be big. It's gonna be bigger than life. He had such a big personality, bro.